Hello and welcome to the Creabea Knitting Podcast. Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm a knitter and knitting pattern designer based in Edinburgh, and today I'm going to share with you my top 10 favourite knits of 2025. Now, two things to share before I get there. The first thing is I did a charity pattern release at the end of 2025 and we raised almost £10,000, so like 9,300 and something, and I'll be matching the first £5,000 of that. So just an update that in the coming days I'll be making a donation of almost £15,000 to the Fistula Foundation. So if you purchased any of those three patterns, the Kintra bag, scarf or hot water bottle cover, a huge thank you. That donation will make a huge difference to the organisation. They send me really regular updates, and like now they know that when I was donating as an individual, I don't think I came onto their radar, but I'm donating as a business now because I donate straight to them, and now they're suddenly like, whoa, where's this coming from? So it's been really nice. I've talked a few times in the past year. They sent me their newsletter, and I'm very excited to make that donation again and to share with them the difference of the knitters. Really lovely. Second up then is I have a quick pattern release to talk about before talking about my favourite knits of last year, and this is a kind of exciting pattern release because the first time ever I have two fully graded versions, a mask fit and a femme fit. Now the femme fit is graded to my standard size chart, which is a woman's size chart. The mask fit has actually been graded against the standard men's sizing chart. So what's really exciting about that is I've done like unisex patterns before, and a lot of things like raglans you can accommodate, you can make the fit work, but for this there's a fully separate fit for men, which because this is a more fitted garment really makes a difference. Very exciting, and you get both in one, so whether you want the mask one or the femme one doesn't matter, you get them both. I'm going to quickly run through my samples just to show you what they are, and I'll put some pictures up as I'm talking. It's called the INSH sweater. You can use the code INSH10, it's INSH, named after Loch Inch, on Ravelry on our website until Sunday midnight my time, GMT. Okay, I'll start with what I'm wearing as my first sample. Disclaimer, this sample is a little too big. Now, it's not actually too big. I love it and I'll still wear it, but it blocked out more than it meant to. Yes, I'm a designer. I should have been okay with that. Like, I should have been aware that was going to happen. I used the same yarn. It is Laxton Sheepsoft. I used the same yarn for my Half Fisherman's Rib version, and the swatch blocking and the stockinette blocking was exactly the same. So I wasn't expecting this to grow. However, it did grow within the recommended ease, so I wasn't too worried. However, since finishing this, because I finished this probably more than 6 months ago, I've actually lost some weight, and I've seen I've gone down a size ultimately, and so now this is a little on the big side. It's not crazy, it's about 20 centimetres of ease, but I don't recommend as much as that in the pattern because it does have a fully fitted sleeve cap. So it just looks like a bit of a drop shoulder, which again works for me. I will still wear it, I have no issues against it, but I feel like I need to give that disclaimer if you see it, because it's going to fit a little differently. However, the other samples fit within the recommended ease, and they're on the listing. So okay, let me show my samples quickly. This version is the Stockinette Henley neckline. So it comes in two fabric options. There's a stockinette, which is like plain knitting, or there is the Half Fisherman's Rib, which is this beautiful brioche-like texture. This is my favourite stitch pattern of all time. I love knitting it up. I love the fabric it creates so much. It's a little labour of love, and I know that not everyone loves it, hence why there's also a stockinette version. It is a saddle shoulder. It's hard to see on this one actually, but you can see it much more clearly on the Half Fisherman's Rib in the light colour. It's got a saddle on both sides, and it is more of a set and sleeve fit, so it does have a fully shaped sleeve cap. So two fabrics, Half Fisherman's Rib and stockinette. I've lengthened the Henley on this one, so I made this one deeper, and again there's instructions in the pattern on how to do that if you want to do it. And then there's also a round neck version. So yeah, Laxton Sheepsoft. My Henley is also in Laxton Sheepsoft. I love this yarn. It's also on sale until the 9th, until midnight tonight. By the way, I'm not remotely affiliated with them. I buy my yarn. I'm not doing any yarn collaborations. Like, I've decided against that for now. That's my policy. But I bought quite a lot of the yarn, and I know it's on sale. So if you're interested, now you know. But I think it's only until midnight tonight. This is the Henley version, so you can see it's got a Henley neckline. I'm obsessed with this. I just think like that is just so crispy, like the saddle lines. And then there's a round neck. Oh, and the Henley, this is a low Henley neck. This is the high Henley neck. They're also both in the pattern. And then there's a round neckline. This sample is not my sample. This is my friend Jenny's sample. She was a test knitter and then has gone travelling back to Finland over Christmas, and so I got to borrow her sample, and I really don't want to give it back because it's stunning. It's in Tuka wool, but it's a certain type of Tuka wool. That being said, I did knit the Lanark in Tuka wool at the same gauge, so you could just use regular Tuka wool. It's real sheepy, like it's very rustic feeling. It's definitely not as soft as the Laxton's, but it's really lovely, and it shows stitch definition really nicely. So that is the round neck one. And then last but not least, there is the Stockinette round neck. This sample is my stepdad's. He was my model in the pictures, and I knit this version in pearl, so it's been folded up. You can see that big line in the front. It is knit up in Pearl Soho knitting yarn. So that's the 4 of them. I really enjoyed them. I'm really happy to have that pattern out. I'm really like happy to make a step to make a pattern even more inclusive. It's not something I'll be doing like for every single pattern. Like I feel like depending on the fit of a pattern, it really calls for it. So if I'm doing like a set and sleeve garment, I quite like to include bust shaping because then that means it can fit better. And pretty much all my summer patterns this year are coming in 4-ply and DK. And I feel like just like trying to make those steps to make, you know, the bang for your buck thing is something that's important to me. So I'm trying to make sure I'm delivering on that. So that is INSH. 10% off until Sunday. And that's all I have to say. Okay, I should jump into this. Now, I realised I did not put these in order, but I'm planning to try these on, so I should pull them out in the order which makes the most sense for trying on. They're a couple of t-shirts, so I might save the t-shirts until the end, so I can keep this base on throughout. I pulled out 10 patterns that my favourite knits of 2025. The reason I pulled out 10 is because in 2025 I knit 46 adult size garments. That's an obscene number. I'm aware. I think that might make me like knitting's overconsumption final boss, possibly. I'm creeping closer towards having to do a clear out of some of the sweaters I have. I'm running out of space ultimately. They're all stored above me up here. And as you can see, those shelves are pretty full. So I'm definitely creeping towards having to clear some stuff out, but that's okay with me. If I want to continue releasing patterns that come in multiple gauges, multiple weights, multiple textures, I need to keep making that many samples. And so as long as I'm working where I am, this is the way that I don't really mind. If I have to gift fully knit sweaters to people, that's okay. At some point there might be, maybe I'll do like a charity auction and like sell off some samples that I'm not wearing. But for now I have family and friends that are very, very happy to get given samples. And it means I can make patterns which offer loads, but that does also mean loads of samples. Of the 46 garments, only 3 of them are patterns which I either have only knit, like that's the only time I'll knit them. So everything was either a first sample with more to come or a second or third sample of things I've already knit. So like all of the 43, 40 of them were duplicates or like due to be duplicates. Sorry, of the 46, 43 were either duplicates or will be duplicates. So I think that's quite indicative of like how I work. And I also like to offer different price points. If I'm going to do a pricey project, I like to also have one that's more inexpensive, hence why I have multiple samples. So yeah, it sounds like I'm justifying myself, but I'm kind of already over it. Like I'm happy with my volume. But it is a bit obscene. So instead of doing that, which I think would take me many hours and a lot of cleaning up, and also just being like, here's my sample 1 of this pattern, here's the second sample of this pattern, here's the third sample of this pattern, I'm just going to pull out 10 of my favourites, and they are all different patterns. Okay, I'm going to start with this left hand pile. This is my first one. This is a knit that I completed early this year, and this is a Tolsta tank. Now, my Tolsta tank is designed as a summer pattern. It is a pretty popular summer knit. It has a couple of neckline options. This is the vest, I think I called it. It's just like the very, very basic tank top looking one. What I love about this is the yarn combination. Now this yarn combination, sorry, it's going up my nose. This combination will come up again because I've got another pattern in this yarn. It's pretty pricey, I will say that. It is Gepard Pura Lana, which is a wool alpaca blend, and mohair. So I'm holding those both together, and it gives me a 17 stitch gauge, which if you have not been around for a while, I just am drawn to the 17 stitch gauge. Don't know what it's about it, but something about 17 stitches calls my name. And I was really pleased to see that I could use a wool and mohair blend, or like wool and mohair combination, to get me and a summer pattern and get like a very, very wearable garment. And I think that's what I love about this. It has been so wearable. I always prefer I put together with this and I throw it on a lot. So let me try this on. This is pretty much exactly how I wear it, and I will say I have not been wearing it a lot in the winter because it is cold and I wear sweaters all day every day in the winter. Literally, like, I wake up, I put on a sweater, I wear a combination of sweaters until the end of the day, and then I take my sweater off and get into bed. So even right now I'm like, oh, my arms are out, I'm cold. And so this got a lot of wear in the autumn, and I think even in the spring. Really like it. It's like an anthracite grey colour, so it goes with a lot of different things. And overall I felt pretty chic in this one, and I think it's a really good example of like I think we put summer patterns and winter patterns into like buckets because we're like, oh, but that's knit in cotton and linen, and like that's knit in wool. It was really fun to use like the base pattern, which is a summer knit, and to knit it up in a winter base. Number 1, Tolsta Tank. Number 2, we're just going to keep going with this because it's next in the pile. This is also in the same yarn combination. This is, and I've got at least 2 sweater quantities still of this, which is obscene. I got loads of this brown. I think my plan originally was to make the brown the main colour of this, so I've got a lot of it. And I've also got a sweater quantity of the white, which I bought myself. I think the white will get cast on first. This is my Affric Sweater. This is again in Pura Lana from Gepard and mohair. It's a pricey combination, I will say. The Pura Lana is already a relatively expensive yarn. I think it comes in 50-gram balls and it's like £7 a ball, maybe more than that. And then you add mohair, so it becomes quite expensive, which is why I made 2 samples of this pattern. For the tank, it uses like 400 meters, 500 meters I think for my size, so it's also quite cropped, which you can't see, but it's definitely like maybe 25, 26 centimeters from the underarm. But it's lovely for a reason. And I feel this is a bit ruining everything because I'm going to say this on number 2, but I think it's my favourite knit of 2025. I think it's the overall favourite. I love it so much. So let me chuck it on and I can talk about it more. So this is my Affric Sweater. The fabric is like the number 1 reason why I love it so much. I think the second reason is it was a very, like, I really enjoyed the design process of this one. I had a very clear, in fact this is the swatch for it up here. I had such a clear vision for what I wanted this to be, and then it executed like better than it was in my head, which I love, and that it doesn't happen very well. Usually, like, it feels really good if it looks like it looks in my head, but getting better than it looks in my head is like is relatively abnormal, and this absolutely, I think, looks better than it did in my head. The test knit was so good. The testers loved their finished objects. I had testers being like, I've never had a sweater fit me this well, which I really loved. And yeah, I just think like the fit is really fun. It's got quite a deep yoke, which I was also kind of apprehensive about, but then I got comments on it being such a good fit, so like that was really fun. And it's really fun to knit up. I love colour work, but I struggle with like all over colour work. I need that stockinette break to keep me going, and there's something about this, like, you do a little bit, you do a little bit, you do a little bit, and I love it so much. There's nothing I would change about this. I wore it a lot. I'll be sad because I finished it in April, I think, and then I tried to take it away we went on like a trip with some knitting friends and I couldn't wear it. Like, I wore it one day but I was way too hot, I was like sweaty. But then I've worn it a lot since like November, and I'm glad that I got a few months to be able to wear this so much. The second sample of this is knit in Rama Fino. It's also beautiful, but that one I need to just like commit to wearing it to like soften it in, and it's currently with one of my local yarn stores as a sample, a shop sample. So for now this is my one and only Affric, but no complaints. I'll probably wear this once a week, and it's, yeah, I love it so much. Okay, number 3. Let's mix this up. Okay, this one is in not great shape, which it should be because I didn't finish it that, like, it's not that new, but it's not that old either. I think I finished this like 3 months ago, but I've worn it so much that I think I'm gonna have to like block it to try and get some shape back in. This is my Stockinette Lannarch. Let me try. Normally when I film I just have to go through and like cut out any times that I've like sneezed or like slurped my drink. I realised I have to do way more editing today. That's okay. So here's my stockinette Lanark. I love it so much, but it is definitely like, it's not held its shape superbly well, and I think it needs a block. It's just got a little, like everywhere's just got a little, you know when you just have a pair of jeans that just need, like they've got that sort of elastic in them, they just need to chuck them in the wash for them to go back to being like, I need a on the sweater. So I don't often do like, I don't really block my knits very often at all. This one will require another block, but I'm wearing it and it looks great. So like, I think it's more how it feels than anything. It just feels a little out of shape. Let's talk about this pattern. So the Lanark pattern is a pattern which has been out for 3 years. 3 years in March. It is probably one of the patterns I am the most proud of. I love it so much. It's also in half fisherman's rib, and I just love it. And it's a relatively popular pattern, but it's also it's kind of a hard pattern. I'll be perfectly honest. It's got some tricky techniques. It's got like shaping in half fisherman's rib, which like can just be a lot of work. But I think the outcome of it is so good. Like the finished object is so good. I think I have 5 Lannarks. Yeah, I've got 5 of them, and there's currently another one being sample knit. So like, I just love this pattern. I think it's so wearable. But I did feel a little bit like when I did the INSH pattern, the one I'm releasing today, in the stockinette and in the half fisherman's rib, I was like, let's just chuck a stockinette version into the Lanark. Let's just add it on. That was a real, I think I literally had that thought in the shower. It was a real shower thought. So this is getting added to the Lanark pattern in mid-February. I think like the 2nd week of February. It won't be a new pattern release. If you already got that pattern, I will send out an update. If you want to purchase the pattern after that, you will get both versions, and it's going to be in men's fit. So there's a men's fit, women's fit, and I've added there's a mask and a femme fit, and I've added the mask fit to the original half fisherman's rib too. So that pattern's getting a little facelift. But I've worn this so much. A couple of reasons, I think. It's a really nice weight of yarn. It is a DK pattern, and it is the perfect, like for me, it's just been, in where I live, I could wear that, like it's a 3-season project, right? Like I'd wear this from like September until probably May. In the winter I'm wearing it with long sleeves and I'm wearing a jacket over the top, and in the spring and the autumn I'm just wearing this out. I will say I use Knitting for Olive merino and mohair in the colour burnt orange. This colour is also like, I always feel like I've put on an outfit when I'm wearing this colour. I feel the same with my Crail cardigan that's in an orange. Something about orange, I feel cool in orange. I feel kind of like fashionable, like put together in orange. So I reach for it a lot because of that. I think that this gauge suits being a little tighter. So I think ideally I'd knit this like a 22 stitch gauge or a 21 stitch gauge for that yarn combination. Knitting for Olive merino is a very, very light fingering. It's like 250 meters per 50 grams. I think if you were to do like a regular fingering weight yarn, so like a 400 meters per 100 grams with a mohair, you'd be fine on this, but it's just a little too thin. It doesn't affect the wear, but I think that's maybe why it's lost its shape a little bit. And yeah, I love the collar. I think it's cool. I love having a zip. I never really do the zip up, but there is a zip. And oh, am I gonna get this back down properly? Yeah. I love it. So yeah, February, this pattern update is coming. Normally when I knit a pattern, I try not to wear it until the pattern has come out, but this has been worn just about every single week since I finished it. So that is a sign of a good knit, and absolutely one of my top favourites of 2025. The one currently being sample knit is in dark grey. I think in Tukawul. No, in Hillesvag, which I'm excited about. In like a dark grey, so I think that'll be super wearable too. Okay, I'm going to stick with the sweaters and do the t-shirts at the end, because then I'll have to take my t-shirt off and it's too cold. So which one next? Okay, I didn't charge anything properly, so all my batteries keep running out, but that's okay. I couldn't work with them. I was like, I'm sure there's one more favourite knit. There's definitely one more, and I'm looking around and looking around, checking my list, and I realised I was wearing it. So this is getting a lot of wear right now. And this is not of a pattern. However, the reason I love this pattern is for one detail, and that one detail is in one of my book patterns. I've got a book of patterns coming out in November. So very exciting. I knit this as I was like waiting for news about the book, and it feels like a book pattern even though it's not really. So this is my Patternless pattern. It is knit in Sandascar, Peargin and mohair held together. It's pretty warm and cozy, and I'd say at the moment right now when it's pretty cold outside, this is my absolutely, like, I've worn this every single day this week. It's been, I know the Canadians are going to be like, oh, -3, that's nothing, but for -3 is pretty cold for Scotland. we just have a lot of like mild weather. It's never too hot, it's never too cold, and if it is too hot or too cold then everything breaks. So -2 was pretty frosty for us, and this is, I've been wearing this like under my jacket every day this week. It's really nothing of note. It is a drop shoulder sweater. It is one of my favourite methods of drop shoulder, which is bottom up. I've got one more knit in this pile, which is the same method. I like it for like my extreme drop shoulder, the ones that are really dropped. It's the method I prefer. And it's a pretty chunky gauge. I think it's a 15 stitch gauge, and there's a really fun detail, which is this shoulder detail, and it is a 3 needle I-cord bind off, which I just really love. So I think it just makes it a little bit more elevated and feel a little bit more fun. It just makes it for like a really fun, clean design. And otherwise there's like nothing really to note about this. I love the colour. I think it does, if I see the camera right now, I see myself and I think I look so pale. I look like a bit of a ghost. However, I do think navy is one of the colours that generally suits me quite a lot. So I do like wearing it, and I don't think I've got, I mean, I say this, I probably do have, I was wearing a navy sweater earlier, but I think other than one early raglan that I made, I didn't have a navy sweater, and I feel like I had like a space in my wardrobe for one. I have space in my wardrobe for a red one too, so maybe I'll make a red one. We will see. I started a red one, I had a red sweater on my needles, and then I got book news, and then everything got reshuffled to make space to knit 18 book patterns. So it's like this much of a knit with the needles ripped out. Chaotic. So yes, nothing to report on this one, but I just wore this so much, and for wearing it this much, it's held up incredibly well. There's like a little bit of crinkling on the sleeves, but that's because I sit like this knitting all day with the sweater on. And currently on my bottom half I'm wearing some really cozy pyjamas, and so like I feel kind of put together. Like I'm wearing my daytime pyjamas and I'm wearing the navy sweater, and I feel cute and comfy, and I am cute and comfy, so it works. But even like there's not really any pilling. It's really worn incredibly well, and I will be sad when the day comes. Like I won't be that sad because at that point I'll be sick of the cold, but there'll be a point in like probably March where I'll be like, okay, it's getting to like, I can't keep wearing that sweater, it's currently 16 degrees outside, and then I will transition out of this, and then hopefully like next November I'll come back to it and be like, oh my baby, and I'll start wearing this again. Okay, I'm just gonna put the t-shirts to the side. One t-shirt, two t-shirts. Okay, yeah, let's do one of these. So the next 2 patterns are not released yet, but I did knit them last year, so I think that counts. And they're coming out relatively soon. This is my next pattern release, and then the pattern release after that, so that's okay, you won't have to wait too long. So let me put this one on. This is Ariundle. I feel like every time I put this sweater on, I talk about how the colour makes me feel like a Celtic goddess, and again, I feel like I need to be like running through some forest or something with some sprites when I wear this colour. I love it so much. It is West Yorkshire Spinners BFLDK, beautiful yarn. It's soft, so like I'm expecting a bit of pilling. I'm trying to restrict how often I wear this one because the pattern pictures haven't been taken yet. So I've probably only worn it 6 or 7 times. But when I wear this, I feel like my outfit is already done because it feels like a fun sweater, but it's not, there's not so much going on that I can't build an outfit around it. It's not like too in your face, but I feel put together, and like I feel good in this one. So let me talk about it. It is a round yoke sweater, but in the way that I now like to make round yokes, it has raglan shaping under the arm. See it on this side a little bit. So like from here on outwards there's some raglan shaping. I find that just gives, like, I think otherwise round yokes are notoriously hard to fit, and I find that this is kind of the happy place in between where you can increase in a way that you, I think what happens otherwise is that you, to get enough stitches on the body, you end up with this like bulge a little on the sleeve, or the sleeve needs to go out a little bit, and I don't like it. And I feel like with this you get like a nice body fit, but also like the sleeve fits very naturally, which I really like. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of like the ranunculus, in that I really like when all the interest is up here and then you've got stockinette for the rest of it, and it's not something I do very often. Like the Kintra yoke is kind of similar. I don't think there's anything else. I think everything else is very like all over texture. Like I like a lot of all over texture. But I think there's a very like common pattern in knitting, or a lot of patterns where like there's something in the yoke and then the rest of the body is plain, and I love it. I really like the process of knitting it. It's just very, like the yoke is very moorish, and then you've just got like a sea of stockinette, and it's like one of my favourite ways to knit. And I remember thinking that way when one of my first sweaters was the ranunculus, and I was like so invested. I think I knit the entire yoke. I mean, that's a bigger gauge, but I'm sure I knit a ranunculus yoke in like a day and a half, and then I was like, oh, now I just knit stockinette, and I feel the same about this. So it's got this rib and cable texture. It looks a bit like it's called Ariundle, which is the oldest oak wood like it's an ancient oak wood in Scotland, but I also think it looks a little bit like a cathedral roof. I feel like the green's making it very tree nature, but I think if you put this in like a grey, it would maybe look more architectural. And I've repeated that motif on the cuff as well. And I just love it. I really love it. It was such a fun, it wasn't the smoothest process of designing, but it went very, like once it all clicked, it went very smoothly. It has some really fun things. So like there are short rows built into this first round of ribbing, and that as a designer was just like, oh like yes, that works. That's really nice. And it's not a very complicated pattern. It's all just knits and purls and like some cable crosses. So it just like poured it in my head. And also, I don't often design as I go. I usually design first and then go. And with this one, I was designing as I went. Like I was ripping out and going with the yoke, which was so much fun. And the test knit was insanely smooth. The test knit is kind of wrapping up. I guess the pattern comes out the first week of February, so it's got some weeks left. But like if people are done or just knitting the body, it was so smooth. There were like a couple of, like I think there was maybe like a couple of rows that started with a knit that should have started with a purl, or like vice versa. But it was just, it's been such like a pain-free process. I flew through the yoke. It was super addictive. It was super fun. And then the stockinette body was really fun. And then, yeah, I just really loved all of it. So this is coming in February. I've currently got, again, I feel like I sound really cheeky saying that, I was going to say lazy, and then I was like, lazy's not really the word. I've got quite a few things with sample knitters right now. However, the book patterns are due April. 18 patterns between November and April, and I mean, I'm telling you already that I'm trying to get 46 sweaters in a year, so like theoretically that's not that hard, but yeah, that's on top of my regularly scheduled release schedule. Like I'm not skipping any releases. I'm releasing a pattern a month every month until other than August. I never release pattern in August. Every other month until the book comes out. So it's quite a lot on my needles at the moment, book wise, and I'm trying to make sure that I have one non-book thing on my needles, but it means that for like second samples I am struggling to get my second samples done myself. So my Lannarch second sample is with a sample knitter. My Ariundle second sample is with a sample knitter. I don't really mind, provided I make the first sample and like I know the process. I'm not like, I think it like it's reasonable, and sample knitters get paid, and you know, it's something that they're not volunteering to do, but they're getting paid for. But I feel guilty about it. I'm like, oh, I should be knitting all my own samples. But yeah, this year, this one is currently, it's in a dark purple. I can see the swatch behind me, but I'm not going to get it. It's a dark purple, and I'm very excited. And I think it's almost done. I'm sure the sample knitter told me that it's wrapping up, which is very exciting because I'm looking forward to having it. Ariando. Yeah, it's just been so easy. I'm like looking forward to February because I'm like, oh, firstly I can wear this one, secondly I got my second sample to wear, and thirdly like it was such an easy process and it was so fun to knit, and I'm just really excited about, like, there's no like, oh, I have to get the final pattern ready, or like I have all these edits to do. I mean, I find that generally my test knits are relatively smooth, but also it's only one version. There's just this version. I've not got like, there are 4 pattern documents for the INSH. There's like half fisherman's rib, mask, half fisherman's rib femme, stockinette mask, stockinette femme. That's like 4 times more work, and this is just like one pattern. So yeah, a joy from start to finish. Love the yarn, love the pattern, love the process, love the test knit, love the colour, and very excited for the launch. Okay, 2 more sweaters. And I'm actually gonna, spoiler, I'm not sure the next one I finish this year, but I'm gonna put it on and explain. It might have been just over the cusp, I can't remember. My logic with this one is that I think I might have finished it at the end of 2024. However, the pattern came out in 2025, and I think this is the best thing I've ever knit in my whole life, so I feel like it deserves a moment in its spotlight. This is my Crail Cardigan. It is a raglan all over cabled cardigan that came out in October, I think, along with a sweater and a vest version. And the cardigan is my favourite. Don't tell the vest or the sweater, they're up there somewhere. Don't tell them, but the cardigan is absolutely hands down my favourite. And I say cardigan, but this version is almost more like a jacket because I knit this in worsted weight yarn with mohair, and it's a relatively dense gauge with all this honeycomb cabling, and so this is a heavy garment, but it holds its structure really well because of all the cabling. That really still works, but like this is even thicker. Where did that sweater go? My blue one I've been wearing a lot, because of all the cabling. This is an even heavier sweater, so in my head it's a jacket, and I've been wearing it kind of like a jacket. I was interrupted by a barking dog and I can't really remember where I got to. Loads of cables ultimately. So it's got this braid here, or this like classic 4x4 cable, and it's also got one like that on either side of the honeycomb, and then the whole thing is just honeycomb cabling. And it just felt like such a, like it's the most probably classic and traditional thing I've knit, but it just feels like so timeless and so perfect, and I just love this. I think it's beautiful. I think it's very well executed. Like, I'm not necessarily always the most detail oriented knitter, and I do think that sometimes I can cut corners. Not cut corners, but like if something is not quite perfect, I don't really mind usually, and I really don't mind a lot. But you know, I don't really do sewn bind offs. I just do a regular bind off because I'm happy with it. So like not cut corners, but often I just take like the easiest path, and I feel like with this, like this was just commitment from start to finish, and I love it. So this is the Crail pattern. It is an already live pattern. It came out in October, and yeah, there's a sleeveless vest and a sweater version too, but this one is definitely my favourite. I just love it. Oh, I feel like if you told me 10 years ago, no more than that, because I guess I was still knitting 10 years ago, if you told me like when I worked when I was a kid or like a teenager, I worked in a local shoe shop, like a family run shoe shop, and there's a woman that worked there who knit our Aran sweaters for her husband. And I just remember being completely in awe that she'd knit these sweaters. And if you had told that person, that me, whatever I was, 16 years old, 15, 16, that I had knit this and designed it and like developed it into a pattern, I would be completely gobsmacked. And so like it just feels like a real token of like what I've achieved. I'm getting a bit emotional about a sweater. Okay, I've got one more sweater and then 3 t-shirts. So let's put on my last sweater. Okay, here she is. This is my Lynx sweater. It's got like 2 bands of colour work. It's drop shoulder. I love the colours. Let me talk about the sweater. So this is currently in testing along with a vest and a cardigan. There's a pattern for sure. And this is one of my favourite things I knit last year. I love it so much, and I'm really making a conscious effort to not wear this until the pattern comes out, but I think when it comes out I will be wearing this everywhere. I've currently got the vest on my needles, and I'm trying to debate whether I'm going to make a cardigan or another version of this. I've got spit time for one more before the pattern releases, and I'm not sure which. Probably I should make the cardigan because I think I should have sized down in the cardigan sample that I've got. My current cardigan sample is a little big, so I think I should make a separate cardigan sample in the right size. But I want another jumper because I just love the fit of the jumper, and I think it just is like, it makes me feel very cool girl in this jumper. Why do I love this so much? I love this so much because this was such a process for me. I knew what I wanted, kind of, but I thought I wanted a raglan, so I knit a whole raglan yoke and I ripped it out. And then I thought I wanted 3 motifs, but I didn't like that either, so I ripped it out. And so there was a lot of ripping out for me. It's also a new, like, I knit colourwork flat in this, which I did in the Kintra scarf that came out. So it's not my first pattern with flat colourwork, but it was my first garment with flat colourwork, and that felt like again a new challenge. It is very straightforward. I didn't really understand why colourwork was so flat, so challenging, but one of the reasons is that it's harder to read the float, like read the backside, but you work every row twice, so it's quite nice because on the way back you just knit the colours as colours. So if I had like a purple, 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 blue, purple, blue, I just knit the same thing on the reverse side. So that's made this a much easier flat colour work. I just love the fit. It feels very classy. It's oversized, but it feels considered. There's like some really nice shaping at the shoulders. There's some nice shaping in the arms. I just think it's a considered fit in a way that is fairly new for me, and I love it. I love it so much, and I think I sort of departed from my classic colour ways for this. I want 10 of them, and I feel like if that's how I feel about a pattern, like it's a great one. I've got, let's see, the cardigan is not very far away. I've got a cardigan in grey and red. I've got a vest in brown and white, like a really rich, like dark, like a rusty brown. Basically this colour, the cape on that colour, and white. And I've got a vest quantity in green and white, and I've got a sweater / cardigan quantity in white and black. And I would want them all to exist right now. So that's always a good sign. When I'm so enamoured by my own pattern that I want more samples, that's always really nice. So yeah, this comes out in March. It'll be my last winter pattern, or like cold weather pattern of the... in my head, my pattern cycles run September to September. I think because I first released the pattern in September, and I also take a break in August and don't release the pattern. I just have a birthday sale. So I find that like I do September, October, November, December, January, February, March winter patterns, and then April usually like a spring pattern, and then May, June, July summer, and then August off, and then I start back up again with the sweater knits. And so it's my last sweater knit of the season, even though it's quite early in the year. Oh, I love it so much. I just love it. I think it's so cool. And I feel like purple and blue are like a weirdly Scottish combination. I watch quite a lot of rugby, and the Scottish rugby team wears a lot of purple and blue. So it weirdly feels very patriotic to me. Which I guess is a little bit niche, but I love it. So that's the Lynx. It comes out April, currently in testing. But yeah, one of my favourites. Okay, I'm going to show, I've got 3 t-shirts here, and 2 are unreleased and 1 is released. So I'm going to start with an unreleased and then do the release one in the middle. I feel bad showing knits which are not available, but at the same time they are my favourite knits of the year, so it feels like I should just stay true to myself. Okay, next one. Okay, I think my favourite summer knit of 2025 was this t-shirt. It is the Sollas Tee, Sollas. It is a 2025 pattern release. No, 2026 pattern release. It's going to come out in May, so it's still ages away. Sorry. I love this, and I made 3 samples of this, I think, last year, and it's already graded and ready, and the test knit is in February, so like it's all just sitting ready to go. I love it. Actually, I've made 4 of these. I also knit one in wool, and I think my next non-book cast on might be a sweater version. So yeah, I am obsessed with this. Let me talk about it. There are a couple of reasons why. The first one is the colour. I am not a big blue person, really. It's not my go-to colour of choice. However, I feel like this awoke me to blue, and then I put blue in this. They're very similar colours, because I feel like I love this one so much. I feel like I look very pale right now. I do go like a few shades darker than white in the summer, and I feel like with a tiny bit of colour on my face I really liked how this looked. 2 is, this is in Knitting for All of Pure Silk, and that is a beautiful combination. It is a Tolsta gauge pattern, so it's a 17 stitch gauge and then a 4-ply version at 24 stitches. So yeah, that is just my favourite thing to wear in the summer. It's drapey and open and fun, but also knits up quickly, and I don't really want to spend too long on summer knits, and like maybe that is just a fault in me, and I've never been a patient person, but like in the summer weather, maybe it's because summer is so fleeting in Scotland, I like being able to like get a knit out, wear the knit. Like it doesn't take very long in summer because there's not all that much time to enjoy it. So that is reason 1 and 2. Reason 3 why I love it is the construction. I think I've raved about this already earlier this year, but let me talk about it briefly. It is a simultaneous set-in sleeve. So it looks like a set-in sleeve. You can see the seam line here and here. However, it knits up a bit like a raglan. So you work a little bit on the back, and you pick up at the front, and then you do the neckline shaping, and then you ultimately join in the round around just here, and the rest of the thing is knit in one piece. And it also means that when you come to knit the sleeves, a bit like a raglan, your sleeves are already mostly knit, and you're just picking up and knitting this a little bit here. So it's a very enjoyable knitting experience, which I love a lot. Like I really, really love it. So this pattern, I have made a bunch of samples already. That is because this will have a Henley neck and a cardigan version as well. So I've made a wool cardigan short sleeve, which was fun. I might lengthen the sleeves on that one. My takeaway from winter is that I almost made it to my top 10, and then I was like, actually, I love how it looks, but unsurprisingly, it's hard to wear a short sleeve cardigan in wool in Scotland because it's either it's like short sleeves. It's better just to have long sleeve and just wear a woolly cardigan. So I feel like I've not had a huge amount of wear of this, of the cardigan version. This one got worn like once a day all summer. So yes, it's coming out later this year. I've got, I think I've got a specific quantity of black and white pure silk to make 2 more of these. I know it's being a sweater version, so there'll still be a lot of these coming, I think, but they're fun to knit, they knit up quickly, and they're very, very Moorish, and I like them a lot. Okay, next t-shirt is a surprising one, or like it surprised me, I guess. This was my unexpected champion of the summer of 2025. It is a Lusk Tee. The Lusk pattern came out these have all just been tucked away in a drawer for a while, so they're a little bit creased. I had to like go through my summer knits to find these. The Lusk Tee came out last year. It is also a 17 stitch gauge. It's in this sort of family of summer knits that I've got. So there's Tolsta Tee, Lusk, and then next year would be Solace. I knit this in Filcalana Mercy, which is a wool cotton superwash blend, and I held it double, and it was really lovely. I used this yarn at a tighter gauge for another sample later in the summer. I did not like it at a tighter gauge, but I would definitely knit it up again at this gauge, so that 17 stitch gauge. It doesn't feel... I feel like sometimes like the silk like can look holey at times. Like I like how I'm just like, it can look holey, I can see through, yeah. It can look like a very open drapey gauge. I don't feel like this is super open or drapey. I feel like this is just the gauge it's meant to be. This is a drop sleeve t-shirt. It's got this fun little detail around the back, and I made this version because I wanted to show like a narrow stripe version, and I just had the yarn in stash, but I didn't knit this because I was like, oh, I really want that end product. I was just like, oh, I should make one that's got, I should show off a sample with narrower stripes to show off the striping options, and I knit this one up and I wore it to death over the summer. It felt quite sporty, which I really liked. I like this purple a lot more than I thought I would. I don't have any, well, I say purple knits. I've got this purple knit, and my Ariundle second sample will be purple, but like especially lilac is not really a colour I really ever reach for, and I actually really liked it. And I wore this so much last year. I will say it already was on the top end of ease, and like I've mentioned, I lost a little bit of weight, so I do think that now it's rooming on a little too big, but it's a t-shirt. I will continue to wear it, and again, this is probably going to get a lot of wear next year. And yeah, really fun, unexpected. Did not think I would get as much wear out of this as I thought I would. I've got quite a few Lusks. I think it's like number 5, and it's definitely the one that I wore the most, which I'm surprised at. If you told me beforehand, if you told me to pick beforehand, or like gave me if you showed me all 5 and like pick which one you wear the most, this would probably be the bottom of the pile, and yeah, it's the one that I reach for every single time. Okay, I have one more left, but I'm going to go find a tank top to put underneath this because it is lacy, and I am realising if I don't do that, I will be flashing everyone. And last, but certainly not least, is my Nostie Tee. Now, this is a drop shoulder t-shirt, but it has this really, really lovely ribbing and lace pattern on it. And this is a funny one. I got to the end of summer pretty much. I think I must have knit this quite late, maybe like July, and I didn't really have like, I was already working on designs for the next year. I didn't really need to cast on a t-shirt again. Like I was pretty good design wise. I wasn't searching for anything else, and yet I kept swatching this. I made like a white swatch and a black swatch, and I changed the row count in between, and like I just kept coming back to it, and I was like, I'm just gonna cast it on. Like it's fine, I'll just cast it on, I'll have fun and knit it up. And then I proceeded to wear it 3 times a week for the rest of the summer. This kind of felt like my fancy t-shirt going places. Like if I was going out for drinks at a bar or something, I'd chuck this on. And I love it. I think there are a few reasons. I think this colour, again, I'm looking so pale today. But I think in the summer it didn't look quite so pale. But this colour, this like orangey red, always does a lot for me. This is that orange feeling, I think, from Sana's Girl and Lena. And I just think this colour always looks like a fun pop of something, and it just went really well with like whatever I was wearing. It is again the same way as my bottom up construction, the preferred bottom up construction that I like to make for a more dramatic drop sleeve. It's the one with the I-cord detail, but also the Corin, also like so many. There are probably 5 or 6 patterns that are like this. I just love it so much, and I really like the fit that it gives. And yeah, I wore this so much. Yeah, yeah, I feel like I'm just not really showing off the detail, but you can kind of see it here. I just really love the stitch pattern. I thought it was really fun. And it just, I think it again surprised me a little bit. Like I wasn't expecting to love this as much as I did, and then I finished it and wore it a lot. This pattern's going to testing today, so if you're a newsletter subscriber, you will already have seen this, but it's coming out in April, and it's going to have a long sleeve, short sleeve and no sleeve option. So it'll have like a sort of drop shouldery type cuff here, like a vest, and I'm very excited for the long sleeve. It's also being sample knit because I don't have time. Because I've got book patterns on the go, but I'm excited to see it in the long sleeve version. And it's also in 4-ply and DK, which I completely forgot until I went to make the test form yesterday, and I was like, oh it's also in 4-ply? I forgot. So yeah, entertaining, but there we go. I really enjoy it. I really love it. I feel like wrapping up with t-shirts is a bad shout, because now I'm sad that it's January 9th and I have months and months of cold weather ahead before I can start wearing t-shirts again. But it's given me something to look forward to, and that's a good thing. That's quite nice. So there we go. Those are my top 10 favourite knits of 2025. Oh, and I have my bonus one. I had a bonus. My bonus, I don't have with me. I'll put a picture here. And that is a teddy bear. I think it's called the Vera bear. I made it as a gift. I loved knitting this. And the reason I loved knitting this was because I had no idea what was going on the entire time. I'm first and foremost a garment knitter, and then secondary sometimes an accessories knitter. And there was something about knitting. I couldn't, like I was vaguely aware that I was knitting a head, or like vaguely aware I was knitting a torso, but otherwise I was just blindly knitting the pattern, and it was like a little break for my head, and I really enjoyed the process. And I was very proud of the bear that I finished up with, and this bear went to a very special little girl. So that was just overall a really lovely process. I think that if I have friends with kids coming anytime soon, I don't think I do, I think they've told me, but if there are more babies coming in my friendship groups, I think that's my go-to route. I like making baby knits, but they grow out of them so fast. And if I'm going to make a sweater, I want to make myself a sweater. But the bear was really fun, and I made like cute little dungarees, and I think it took me like 2 or 3 days to knit up. It was such a fun little break. So that is my additional bonus favourite knit of 2025, which kind of counts, but also kind of doesn't count. And that's it. I've been stopping and starting filming, so I have no idea if this is a super long and boring video or if I've managed to do this quite concisely. Knowing me, I think it's taken quite a long time, but that's okay. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've, I don't know, had some inspiration, found some nice new yarns, found some nice new colours. And if you are interested in the pattern coming out today, you can use INSH 10 to get 10% off. And if you're interested in any test knits, go sign up for the newsletter, because there are 5 book test calls and a t-shirt test call going out today. So yes, all that probably explains why I'm a little scatterbrained today. But thank you for joining me. I'm off to put my long sleeve shirt jumper back on again and get back into cozy mode, and I'll be back in a couple of weeks with, I have no idea what I'm talking about then. Goodness knows. I'll think of something. Until then, happy knitting. Bye.